My goodness gracious. Hey, hi, hello, Chad, a doobie me, a doobie Rosie doobie back here in the Rose Garden one last time for the year 2024. If the camera looks weird, it's because it's actually light outside. It is light outside. I cannot stop the sun, unfortunately. I've tried before. It has not gone well for me. But hello, we're here. I didn't get to stream last week like I was hoping to, but that is neither here nor there. We're here now. I've had the hiccups all day. All day. It's been bad. It's been rough. Oh my god, the sun, I know. Hello, Hades. Hello. I hope you're doing well. Chat, you might be wondering, Rose, what have you been doing this last week that you've been off work? And what have you been doing for the next week that you'll be off of work? I've been fishing on Minecraft Championships Island, which, if you are in the Minecraft YouTuber sphere, you may know MCC. And Nox Crew, the creators of MCC, have created a open beta server, and I was lucky enough to be part of the closed beta. And it's got mini games and all that things, all the stuff that I'm not good at in Minecraft. But during this last winter release, they had a fishing update, and I heard about it through the Hermitcraft user members, and I knew it was gonna happen as soon as I logged on, because I heard all the hermits talking about how they got addicted. I knew it was gonna happen, but I did it anyways, because I've been missing Minecraft, and for some reason, the solo play hasn't been doing it for me lately. But logging in, doing my little fishy fish, they all really said get good scrub to you specifically. They did. They did. And some of my friends have heard me complain because all I wanted to do was my little daily quest and get coins and get cosmetics. And then the ocean really do be calling sometimes. It really do. They really do. And of course, with fishing came all the cosmetics that come with fishing. And I'm such a greedy person when it comes to in-video game cosmetics. It's a problem. It's a problem. But we're going to be doing that. We're also going to be yapping about Five Nights at Freddy's Return to the Pit, because I have so many thoughts. So many thoughts about this book. So many things. So with that, let's hop on over so that everyone can see. Oh god, what button is it? Is it this one? Nope. This one. There we go. That's me. Hello, it's me. It's me. I have a little rose. I've got a little scarf. It's cute. You can get this bubble tea, or blockle tea as they call it, from one of the cosmetic crates. I am searching for it. It is my life mission to get a bubble tea. But alas, haven't gotten it yet. I got all these blueprints, and not a single one of them is this guy. Not a single one. Alright, but let's head on over to the actual fishing islands. Let's see. Lucky, glimmering, strong. Let's go for the overgrowth. This is so cute. It is so cute. It is so cute. I don't know any of those people. The amount of times I've been jump scared by hermits. Treasure. But the amount of times I've been jump scared by members of the Hermitcraft server while I've just been fishing. Insane. And we'll leave that to go, because I've got an auto fisher. So we'll just leave that to go. Five Nights at Freddy's Return to the Pit. Insane. So let's get on into this. I will be speaking as if you have a semblance of what Into the Pit the story was. Okay, I shouldn't do that. I should give a quick explanation. So Into the Pit was first found in the first Fazbear Frights book, which was the first of the Five Nights at Freddy's mini-series, like mini-stories books, like Goosebump-esque books. Fazbear Frights was that first series. Into the Pit was the first book and the first story, and it followed a child named Oswald who came from a poor family his dad doesn't like to believe that I need to turn this down just for myself. The Sims is too loud in my ears. Gotta give people the TLDR, exactly. Especially before diving into the actual pit. So TLDR, Oswald, Oz, his family is not well off at the end of the day. So during summer, he and his dad have this routine where on his way to work, Dad will drop him off at the library, give him a few bucks so he can go get a pizza and a Coke from Jeff's Pizza. And Oz finds, which I think in the book it's just like in the middle of the actual pizzeria, this absolute decrepit ball pit that clearly has not been used since like the 80s. And he's just like, I'm mad at my dad for being late one day. And so he's like, I'm gonna teach him a lesson. I'm gonna go into the ball pit. Realizes that the ball pit transports him back to 1985, where he meets kids his age, because he currently lives in a town that is like dying. The town is dying. People are moving away. He does not have friends his age in his current time, but in 85 he meets kids that he becomes friends with, and if I remember the story right, he spends a majority of the summer doing this, going back in time, playing with his friends and everything, until a yellow mascot bunny beckons him over. He follows, sees what is believed to be this universe's version of the missing children incident, and then we gotta find a new spot, and then books it back to his time. He gets caught by his dad coming out of the ball pit, and then TLDR, Rabbit grabs him, becomes his father for a bit. No one else can see that he's a rabbit. Ooh. Congrats, dude. This is gonna be chaotic while I'm looking for people, or looking for spots. So his father the rabbit becomes his dad. No one else can tell that it's the rabbit. They all think it's just his dad. And they think Oswald's kind of losing it, which they don't necessarily blame him. But it's like, buddy, we gotta get you help. And then deals with Rabbit Dad for a bit before going back to Jeff's, grabbing his dad from the ball pit, and then pushing Murder Bunny into the little, like, the netting that usually surrounds the ball pits to like keep all the balls inside, even though it never works. He gets tangled up in there, happily ever after. That's into the pit. TLDR. Then, in August, during the 10th anniversary of FNAF, I believe it was, the 10th anniversary, we got Into the Pit, the video game, which is similar in the fact of it follows the story, only it's the first time Oswald goes, the MCI happens, and then it's the 5 nights of him saving the kids, and then getting his father back, and there's a few different endings that you can get with that one. The one people believe to be the canon ending is the one that follows the book, in which they take care of the rabbit, everything's fine, and then Dad's just like, we can wrap Grandma up in bubble paper and move out of this town. It's like, we can get on out of here. But that one also came with implications that Oswald's dad might be the Freddy mask bully from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Because we already believe Cassie's dad, Cassie from Security Breach Ruin DLC, her dad, who we also believe is the Help Wanted 2 protagonist, is the Bonnie bully, along with Michael Afton being the Foxy mask that we already know for sure. for sure. Nothing's really for sure when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's. Nothing is really for sure. But in the game, in the Into the Pit game, you get a Freddy mask, an old Freddy mask. Oswald doesn't know who Freddy is, but this is in his attic. So people are just like, it's gotta be his dad's, right? It's gotta be his dad, and that must mean that he's the Freddy fiend, right? he's the bully that was wearing the Freddy mask, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Is this making that Into the Pit is game canon? And if it's game canon, does that mean all the stories connected to the Fazbear Fright story is also canon to in-game universe, and yada yada yada? A lot of questions left with the Into the Pit game. And so, everyone was hoping that this was gonna answer some questions. Because before this, we got the book before this one in this interactive series was called The Week Before, which gave us a lot of answers for Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And it was very, stated very plainly that it was in-game canon. And the little teaser book that we got for the series, VIP, was pretty pronounced to be in-game canon of before Security Breach, with everything that was going on. And so everyone was just like, okay, cool. Return to the Pit is going to give us answers, and it'll be in-game canon because 2 for 2 already, right? Right? Question mark, question mark, question mark. This game. It's not even a game. This is a book. It felt like a game. There are 3 major branches. 3 branches, really, of this book. That I'm coming back here, so I'm bringing the mic. 3 major branches to this book. You've got, and none of them really answer questions. None of them answer questions. It's all okay. So the first one is a retelling of the original Into the Pit story, where you've got Oswald is I think they say he's 10 in this book. I think he's 10 in the first book too. But this 10-year-old, all this is happening to a 10-year-old. This 10-year-old is in a poor family, hating life as a 10-year-old with no friends in this dying town, where all he can do is follow his dad's idea of going to the library and then getting some pizza. But also, as someone who both knew the game and also read the story beforehand, I was sort of checking all of the branches that kind of diverted from the original game. I'm gonna keep calling the story a game. For that, I apologize, but it's something you're gonna have to live with. But I need to see, which one is it? Yeah. If you don't go along with the idea of going to the library, and there's a few different times where it's if you refuse to play the game the way that it's meant to be played, it'll take you to this specific ending, where it's weird, and I'm going to read it to you. You have the strangest dream. You were swimming in an ocean. Maybe it's by Myrtle Beach, where Ben is. Ben being your friend who moved away. It's sunny and the water is a bright turquoise blue. It's warm out and you feel so at peace. You are happy and content. Suddenly the skies go dark and you hear a crash of thunder. The water has turned slate gray and the undertow is suddenly grabs hold like a hand yanking you. It pulls you far out to sea. You struggle against it, dipping in and out of waves and choking on the salt water. But then the more you struggle, the farther away from shore you're taken. Then you realize you aren't in an ocean at all, but an enormous ball pit. Just like that weird one in the corner of Jeff's. But this is a ball pit that goes on infinitely. There is no escape, no land in sight. You see it all as if you are looking down at yourself from above like a drone is filming you. You are tiny, surrounded by hundreds of thousands of colorful balls. The drone flies farther and farther away, revealing more and more balls. Millions upon millions. You are alone. It flies up farther and farther until you become indistinguishable from the balls. Your head is just another round object. You are going to drown in a colorful sea of plastic. You wake with a start and quickly glance over at your parents who seemed engrossed in the movie. Your heart beats fast. You know it was a dream, but it feels almost like an omen, a warning. On the screen, the marketing exec in the small town hunk kiss. You sink back into the future sofa. You feel terrible and very uneasy. You decide then that you need to stay far away from the ball pit at Jeff's as possible, and just to be safe, you'll stay away from Jeff's itself as possible. You decide you are never going back there ever again, and the next day you follow through with this decision. Wild enough in and of itself. But then, following through with this, and with other times it gives you a decision to not return to the ball pit. Hold on, let me get a hook. Where's a good spot? Where are you? Strong. No, strong and like this. A fish magnet, maybe. Let's see. Anything up here? Anything better? Wise. Ugh. Glimmering. Let's go glimmering. Get it. Okay. So after that, and for a few other times that you can like just refuse to go to the ball pit, or to Jeff's like in general, it takes you to this, where it says, after you're done at the library, you walk home. You walk past Jeff's Pizza, and the smells wafting towards you are pretty amazing. But you look at the old rusty sign and the large boarded up windows of the old expansion next door, and know that you made the right choice. It's all too depressing for words, and definitely too depressing to just go hang out inside there. You continue your summer like this, and the boredom seeps into everyday part of your life. You start picking fights with your dad just to have something to do. The fights get worse and worse, and they continue into the school year until you finally start ignoring each other so you can get through the day. You realize you must have really upset Dad because he always pushes you to talk about anything, even if you were really mean to him, but he's probably just as worn down as you are. The idea of apologizing to him does occur to you, but it feels like too much effort. Besides, he should be the one to apologize to you first. He's the one who gave you this boring, stupid life. You continue to ignore him. Ignoring is easy and becomes habit fast. It bleeds into the next summer, into the next year, takes you into high school. You continue to barely acknowledge each other as you grow up. Eventually, you move out, leave town as soon as you can escape it. You try to answer the odd dad text, but you don't even care anymore. It is so much easier not to care. Eventually, you lose touch completely. There comes a day where it's the last time you ever communicate with him, and that is a game over. That is what happens if you do not go into the pit. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting and weird that you could just choose to be a normal person, and it leads to this relatively realistic but also very sad reality where Oswald and his dad just do not communicate. Like they pick fights and they get worn down, and it's so interesting. It's very interesting that is the ending that you get if you decide to, not go through the traumatic experience that would be into the pit. While that being normal leads to Oswald getting daddy issues, it is so wild. It is so wild. Especially because, in the original book, in the original story, Oswald and his dad, get into, little bickering spats, but it's never, fights. And Oswald is always, he's upset about the whole ordeal, but can also kind of see where his parents are coming from. And is thankful that they even have, the family nights. But for this story to tell us that Oswald just is, oh my goodness gracious, words don't come to my mouth. But Oswald gets daddy issues at the end of the day. That is it. And it's so interesting and so wild. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright, where is... So that's The Strangest Dream. That's not that one. Alright. So I think a lesson from Scott, you can only have a good dad and child relationship if you drop a bone with your kid. Oh, basically. That's kind of what he's saying at the end of the day. Alright. What is this one? What is this one? Oh yeah, there's another ending and a similar lesson where if you go to Jeff's Pizza but don't go into the ball pit, I believe is how this ending comes along. Where it says you wait for your dad as you always do to pick you up. The wait just makes your anger grow stronger and stronger. You become more and more annoyed with him. His stupid job, his stupid taste in music, his insistence that somehow going to the library and then for pizza is the ultimate summer vacation. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know what it's like to be stuck in a town like this. When he was a kid, there were arcades and stuff, you know? He's told you about it. By the time he picks you up, you're fuming. You climb into the passenger seat, slam the door behind you. Hey, champ, don't slam the door, okay? Dad says. I hate when you call me champ, and who cares about the stupid car door? You replied, totally pissed off. I care. I have to pay for it if it breaks. You should have more respect for things. Respect for this hunk of junk? Cut it out. You're being very disrespectful, replied Dad with a serious voice. You hate his serious voice. Yeah, because you totally respect me, you scoff. I do. You don't. I do. You are so busy arguing that Dad has turned to look at you and doesn't see the red light on the only set of streetlights in this town. And of course, it's the one time a car is actually coming from the other direction. It has to be now. Game over. Scott, I have many questions for you, sir. I have many questions for you, sir. Why are you why do you gotta force the trauma? What on earth? You get into an argument with you don't go into the ball pit, you get into an argument with your dad. And then you both die. What is that about? Huh? What on earth? So at the end of the day, you start to realize that picking the quote-unquote normal child options don't go well. They do not end well for you. And it's so insane. Okay. He said get traumatized, loser. Really, it's like either get traumatized or die. Scott Coffin. Allegedly. Don't come for me, Mr. Coffin. I'm broke. You won't get anything. You won't get anything. Okay. So, another page that I've got bookmarked is a very interesting moment where you've gone into the ball pit. It is not the day of the MCI. It is not that day yet, but you see the rabbit and he beckons you anyways. You can choose to ignore him and it just continues on with the story as before. But if you follow him, and specifically if you follow him with a flashlight, you get a very, very interesting ending. Where you walk over to the rabbit, you feel a little lightheaded now, almost like you're walking in a dream. All the kids making noises around you kind of vanishes in your mind, and your only focus is on the weird rabbit mascot guy. The dead eyes stay on you the whole time. You are drawn to them, even as they seem more soulless. Even as they seem more soulless as you get closer. It's all so strange. Hi, you say when you arrive. The rabbit doesn't say anything back. What a weird mascot. So, you're a rabbit, right? Or, you're a rabbit, huh? That's a pretty stupid thing to say. But you're feeling kind of stupid. Kind of numb, honestly. Like there's this empty well inside you. But you're also inside it? Okay, that was a trippy thought. The rabbit turns and opens the door it's standing next to you, and looks back at you. Oh, it wants me to follow, you think. Maybe you shouldn't, but you kind of want to, so you do. You find yourself following the rabbit through the door, down a dull gray hallway. You're not sure why you're doing it. Yes, you are a little curious, but it doesn't feel like a curiosity is motivating you forward. Suddenly, the rabbit turns around, too quickly for a normal person in a clunky mascot costume. It lunges at you in some kind of attack, opening its mouth wide and revealing sharp, spiky teeth. If you don't have the flashlight, you die. Plain and simple, you get chomped. If you do, however, instinct takes over and washes away any of that weird empty feeling. You are alert and you brandish the only thing you've got that's close to a weapon, the flashlight. You turn it on and shine it directly into the rabbit's face. You expect it to raise its arms to shield itself from the light or to stumble a bit in the brightness. What you don't expect is for it to fall backwards, hit its head, and start to convulse. Its whole body starts shaking like there is an earthquake. It staggers and stumbles and falls into a pile of garbage waiting by the back door. You should run, but you stand there instead, perfectly still, waiting for the rabbit's next move. It lies there lifeless, and that's when you see red spreading across the street. You realize what has happened. It's been impaled on something. You don't waste another moment. You turn as fast as you can and run away. You rush through the door back into the restaurant, and your senses are assaulted by all the noises and lights. What was once a pleasant, exciting atmosphere now feels chaotic and disturbing. You don't bother to look for Chip or Mike. You have one goal: to get home, to get back to your time, to boring Jeff's, to boring Dad, to your boring life. Oh man, boring sounds amazing right about now. You race across the restaurant to the ball pit, but it's gone. It's like it never existed. In its place is a small party area, and a group of little kids celebrating birthday at a table. There's cake and plates, and the kids are all wearing party hats. You wheel around. Where is it? It has to be somewhere, anywhere, but you can't see it. You're trapped. In 1985. Forever. So, 1985, Bunny gets spring locked, and the ball pit disappears. It's gone. In its place, a birthday party. Happiest day happens if the rabbit dies in the past. Hello? Hello? What? L to Oz, who gets stuck in the past. But what do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, we all know what it means, because the happiest day is what puts the kids to rest that we believe, and so it's like, it's just... So it makes sense that it would get to happen without the rabbit. But to get that confirmation... And there's also a whole lot that's to be said about the ball pit actually disappearing too, in and of itself. Which, one moment, because I need to blow my nose. 1 second, 1 second. Alright, ball pit is a branching choice of the timeline, like you either have a ball pit or the MCCI. I guess have the happiest day. Basically. But it's also like, it kind of does imply that it's more like that at the very least, as of this branch, the ball pit is simply agony, like originally believed or theorized for the previous book as well. Ooh, new discovery. Because it was a big theory for a while that after the Stitch Wraith line, that the ball pit wasn't time-traveling ball pit, but an agony-filled ball pit. And because of that, this one does seem to be the case, because if there's no agony, there's no ball pit. If there's no incident, there's no agony, there's no ball pit. So I do think that at the very least, as of this timeline, as of this branch specifically, the ball pit is an agony ball pit and not a time traveling ball pit. Oh, good, that Discord notification did go out. Okay. I always worry. Sometimes it doesn't always go out. That was like 30 minutes ago, but I don't pay attention all that well. But it's very interesting because I think this is like the one branching pathway that does have like anything like this happen, where you can defeat the rabbit before anything else happens. You're in the past, and happiest day happens. There's no ball pit because there's no incident, because there's no agony, and it's just gone, and Oswald is stuck, and I'm saying the same things over and over again because I'm still trying to process this. I read this like last weekend. And it's such an interesting bit of information because it's also still not confirmed, but I do believe that is what this story is trying to say. That as of like the canon branch, this is a way to show that it is of agony instead of time traveling. Will I still be calling it the time traveling ball pit? Yes, because that is simply funnier and a little more confusing. Even if those who aren't super deep into the fandom don't exactly know what agony is, it's, I don't know. There's something very funny specifically about time traveling ball pit. But that is me. Alright, what is this one? That one's just a funny one. That is what I just did. I'm trying to think. Okay. And I'm just gonna keep going down the original sort of like what is probably like the canon timeline for now. And these is the time. That is so true, Hades. It is a bit easier to explain about a traveling ball pit than going into everything that is the agony. The agony branch. All right. Before I continue, let's find ourselves a good fishing spot. And I got some goodies. Lucky research. Ooh, we got 4 out of 4 on that one. Let's go. Neat. Oh. Let's see. We got daily quest done. Or not daily quest, but this is a daily quest, which is nice. Click. Yippee! Got some goodies. Let's see. Is that one good? Pearl magnet. We need pearls. We always need pearls. And then we'll head over to that greedy hook and XP spot. And this is what I've been doing. Is I've been doing this and then I've been paying attention to something else, whether it's like a book or like a video. But this has been like a good chunk of my last week. But it's fun. I like it. Okay. But oh my gosh, I need to tell you guys about the funniest part. Hold on. Do I have it? Bookmarked? Do. Oh, I don't have a bookmark. No. Hold on. Oh, there it is. I do have a bookmark. So, we are at the point of the quote-unquote what I think is probably the canon branch, but we don't really know. It's the one that follows, like, sort of the main retelling of everything. But MCI happens. Oswald goes back. Ooh, there's more I'll have to talk about later. But right now we're going for the funny bit. Oswald gets back into the pit, gets back to his time. His dad finds him. He's upset. Oswald faces his father, so he gets out of the ball pit and everything. Dad gets grabbed by the yellow rabbit. Yellow rabbit emerges. Jeff only sees his dad, so doesn't think anything of it. Just tells him to have a good day, take his soda. And here's the thing. One of the options as the rabbit is dragging you to the car. It says, "This is your chance. If you break free from the rabbit's grip and run as fast as you can down the street. Or, if you break free and run down, tap, touch here." So, Hades, I've already told you about this, but this is so funny. You run as fast as you can away from the rabbit down the street, skidding as you quickly take the next corner. You're not exactly sure where you're running. Home? Maybe you can make it to mom's work in time? Or the police? You're in panic mode, and you know that you need to get as much space between you and that thing as you can. There's a loud screech of tires on the asphalt, and you look over your shoulder to see your dad's car following you fast. The rabbit is in the driver's seat. Crap. You run fast. You run faster as the car chases you through town. The place is so empty, there's basically no witnesses. Or at least, no one seems interested in helping a kid being mowed down by a maniacal rabbit driving a car. You keep running and running, but you are getting tired. There's no way you're faster than a car. You can't outrun a car. The car plows over you. Game over. But it's that very much, it's like you can't outrun a car, or it's like you don't think you can outrun a car, followed by you can't. You're dead. It threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting it. And I highlighted it because I thought it was so funny. And so there's another branch. It's messed up, but so funny. It's so funny. It's like, and messed up, you are correct. It's like, and there's another branch that I won't really get into yet, but is basically in a similar situation where Oswald's running away from something, to where if you click the option that basically just keeps you in the street, it brings you directly back to this exact page. And it was so sudden. There was something so sudden about being immersed into this story, and then just, you can't outrun a car. I just lost it. This game has desensitized me, I think. This series. But it was so funny. Oh my goodness gracious. Now which one? Alright. So that happens. Actually, before that, I need to find where it is. Let's see if I can... Okay. Where am I? I need to tap on through real quick because there is a really interesting moment. Agree to the plan. Library followed by pizza. Dad's a little too thrilled about you liking that. Huff and stomp upstairs. Oh yeah, here's another interesting thing, where you get a text from your friend Ben, who had recently moved away, which is why you're all alone this summer. And if you ignore the text and just like go to bed, it's another one where you go back to the one that I read earlier about having that strange dream about being on the beach, and then it turns into the ball pit, and then you lose contact with your dad at the end of it, which is very interesting, to where just ignoring a text also leads to that. Just wanted to throw that out there. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Alright, so go into the ball pit. Keep on tapping, tapping, tapping. Explore. Ooh, strong tides. Hold on. Follow tradition of new tides, new vibes. We'll see if anyone else joins me on the tradition. Simply wonderful. Don't have a special gold token. We'll get to that later. Also, another very interesting tidbit is that before he even went back in time to Freddy's, Oswald had already been drawing an animatronic mascot looking suit with a bear, a bird, and a rabbit, all playing in a band. And so then he goes back in time to Freddy's and sees a mural, and it says, "They look like your drawings, a bear, a bird, a rabbit, all playing in a band." Which is never expanded upon as to why he could see Freddy, Bonnie, Chica in his head and like create them on his like in his doodles, until it's like and then go back and it is them. It's so interesting. It's such a weird little tidbit, but it's in both. I think it's in the game as well, but it is definitely in the original story of Into the Pit. Very interesting. Never expanded on. Just follows into like this weird idea that that Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria is somehow within us all, even if you've never been there. Ignore the rabbit, go back to the game, yada yada yada. Heck yeah, go back tomorrow. We'll just go with the flashlight because it's good. Don't follow the rabbit. Hang. Also, you don't follow the rabbit that first time. You hang out with Mike and Chip a bit longer. You go back into your time, and you ask your dad. It's like you ask your dad about the restaurant before Jeff's, and he gets weird about it. It was just he furrows his eyebrows, and this expression passes across his face, like a cloud floating across the sun. Yeah, I guess, he says. Suddenly he seems super focused on the empty road. Yeah, someone mentioned something about a Freddy's arcade thing, like way back in the 80s. Dad takes in a deep breath, and then he says, yeah. In 1985, you're probably close to my age. Did you ever go to the arcade there? Why is Dad, who loves to talk so much, now suddenly super clammed up about everything? And Dad is being so weird about it. What? Yeah, that's just how it be. I got real quick distracted. But it is super weird. And logically, you can just think about how it's probably due to his dad at this time knowing about the incident. Because, but at the same time, you would think that a dad would just like be like, yeah, something real bad happened there, so we don't really talk about it. Just like in the whole of everything. Especially if you're a father that does enjoy like explaining things to your kid. Yeah, I was like, why is Dad being all weird about it? You're pretty sure the arcade wasn't closed in 1985 because you were just playing games there. Maybe he's talking about a different restaurant? Yeah, I don't know if I went in 1985, but it closed around then. So it is about, I'm 99% sure it's about the incident. And if he is around Oswald's age, it's understandable that he doesn't like thinking about it. Because those were a lot of kids that would be around his age having that happen in his town and everything. But it's, I don't know, man. It just hits me. It just hits me. And so the options after that is Dad might be weird, but something tells you maybe it's best to avoid the pit today if you decide against going into it. Tap it, which just leads you to the you walking past Jeff's. It's too depressing. You stop talking to Dad. That's the ending it takes you to. But it is also interesting that it's the option to continue going back into the pit is Dad must have made a mistake. And anyways, he's always been a bit weird. Which is like, buddy. Given Oswald is 10, I cannot judge him too much. But it's okay to learn to read the room a little bit. Okay. And so when you go back into the pit the next day, that is the incident of the MCI, where you've got 5 missing kids. Not so missing in this story. Oh, I got peppermint in that. Okay. That's good. I just wasn't expecting a hard candy. So you find the rabbit, you follow him. You don't see the kids initially. First thing you see is the party hats. You see the colorful pointy shapes in the darkness, all the gray, and they draw you farther into the room. They're not dolls. Yeah. The kids are sitting there propped up. Oswald, our autistic king, ain't reading nothing. God, you're so right. It's so true. So it says they look like dolls, but they're not dolls. They're all dead. Horror washes over you. And here is where you can make a very interesting discovery. A very, very interesting discovery. Where if you charge past the rabbit out of the room and see an exit door to your right, that's where we're going. And goodness gracious. You race towards the back exit door as fast as your feet can carry you and fly through it. The harsh light of day blinds you for a moment, but you blink hard several times and you are finally able, oh my goodness. You are able to finally acclimate to the brightness. You look around, the door is slammed shut with a bang behind you. Thank goodness. This gives you a chance to find your bearings. Though you can't take too long since the rabbit can burst out of there at any moment, you just know it. You're in the alley that leads out onto the main street. There's a dumpster and other doors to the building on each side. Brick walls on either side are tagged with graffiti, and someone has drawn a one-eyed fox with a hook for a hand. He looks a bit like a pirate. There's a very specific smell of urine in the air, most alleyways. Very interesting that they've got Foxy on the wall, but not Foxy in the story. Very interesting. And something else. A sound. You strain to hear it. It sounds like someone is calling out to you. So faint and hard to hear, but you think it sounds very much like a kid. Like a little girl. You strain harder to listen. Please help me. It's so faint and quiet, but now that you understand it, you can hear it clearly. You look over your shoulder, anticipating a rabbit attack from that door at any moment. Do you really have the time to help this girl? What's that one? I'm trying to remember what happens if you don't. Oh yeah, there's that one. Okay, this one's a little less crazy, so we'll go with the first one. Do you really have time to help him find this little girl? Option 1, you don't. You feel terrible, but you need to keep going. If you quickly run towards the street, tap touch here. We'll go with that one first. To where it's like you run out of the build. It's like you run out into the alley, you find yourself in the middle of the main street, out of breath, overwhelmed. But then you look back. And you're back in front of Jeff's. The place is like old boarded up windows looking clean. Windows are everything's same but bit different. Old boarded up buildings looking clean and have shops in them. Windows are washed. The front of the arcade extends into the building next to where Jeff's Pizza is in the future, the present. No, that is what's currently happening. Sorry. Then time moves forward all around you, like someone pressed fast forward. World blurs and speeds past, and you can barely make out what you're saying. Cars and people, day and night, over and over, with dizzying haste. Then it stops, and then you're back in front of Jeff's. You think, great, fantastic. You walk over, you see yourself in the reflection, and not only has time moved forward, but you have aged with it. Oswald is in his 40s. And then when his dad comes back to pick him up, he tries to tell his dad who he is. He says that he knows it sounds weird, but he's actually right there. But Jeff and your dad, they don't believe you. Clearly, they just saw Oswald like 5 minutes ago, and you are a man dealing with a midlife crisis currently. And so no one believes you, so they kind of kick you out. The police comes, and you are left to watch. Interesting. You are left to watch as missing posters go up, news reports happen, police searches go on, and you become a missing person. You're never found. Your life is different. You have to deal with living as an older person with a different name, and no one will ever know what happens to Oswald because they'll never believe you. What a wild ending, huh? Wild. Because not only do you get to escape, but you don't even get to grow up. This is a 40-year-old man with the mind of a 10-year-old, because time moves so fast, but he didn't get to grow up, and he doesn't know what's going on, and that's just his life now. It's insane. It's wild. But in my opinion, not as wild as the other option, where if you're back in that alley, you hear the little girl, you wonder if you have the time. Option 2, you can't just do nothing. So you follow the sound. And it is a cellar next to, where is it? Yeah. Make your way down to a pair of wooden doors that lead down to some kind of cellar. They're not locked, so but there's still, hold on, gotta bend over, pull each door up with your hands. Sorry, Friends Band came on. Got distracted. Oh, nice. We got Nuga's going off into the chat. So yeah, it's a cellar that seems to be attached to the pizzeria. But it is like you get the doors open, it leads down to cement stairs, and then you hear, "Hurry, please." So you fling it open, and you stare down into the cellar. Are you coming? Go down a few stairs, and your eyes are able to adjust to the darkness as more steps materialize before you. Then you see her, or it. You stop on the third step down. About 5 more steps away, sitting in the shadow, you see a toy doll that resembles a little girl. She has red hair and pigtails, and is wearing a red dress to match her hair. Her face, legs, and arms are bone white, and she has a blood-red nose and crimson circles on her cheek. Her entire appearance is unnerving. She is silent. Hello? You call out. Is anyone there? Maybe the girl who owns the doll is trapped further into the darkness. Please help me. The voice sounds like it's coming from the doll. That makes no sense. Then again, time travel and creepy rabbit mascots also make no sense. You're seriously freaked out, and you're so done with this rescue mission. Abort, abort. You turn around. The rabbit is there, standing above you. You stare for a moment, and then he shoves you. Hard. You fall down all the steps onto the cement floor, cracking your head against it. You can feel something wet and warm oozing beneath you. The rabbit starts to walk down the stair towards you, backlit by the bright sunshine outside. He is a giant silhouette looming. You hear the sound of laughter beside you, high-pitched giggling. You turn your head to look at the doll. She sits there, perfectly still, but the laughter gets louder and louder. Her head suddenly snaps to look at you. You struggle to get away. The rabbit is there. It attacks. You feel sharp, cold pain and scream out. Game over. Why is a doll-sized version of Eleanor in this game? Because Eleanor or not, that is very much a doll that resembles Circus Baby. We all know Circus Baby. If you don't, look it up. Sister location Circus Baby. Pigtails, bone white, red cheeks, red nose, red hair in the pigtails, red dress. That is Circus Baby. But here she's a doll. Probably the size of an Ella doll, really, if we're sticking with the FNAF canon. I did not even realize that the spot has switched up. We don't want to get kicked from the server. Ooh, Battle Pass. Silver treasure core. Nice. But what is she doing there? What is Circus Baby doing there? And then it's that question of, is this Scott trying to tell us where Circus Baby Pizzeria comes in the timeline? Ooh, elusive. Nice. Get some good fish. Like, is that what's going on here? Or is it just like an Easter? I don't think it's just an Easter egg, but it's also sometimes hard to tell. It's sometimes hard to tell. Because I don't think it's an Easter egg. But I also don't know exactly what it's trying to say. My best guess is that it is Scott trying to let us know that Circus Baby comes before, or that Circus Baby's Pizzeria exists to a point where dolls could be created, or it's a little concept of a Circus Baby. But either which way, there is a baby doll. There is a Circus Baby doll in the cellar of Fazbear's Pizzeria, and I do not understand why. I don't know why. Because the book takes place in 1985 with the missing children incident with the MCI, and no one knows where to put sister location the game. No one knows where it goes in the timeline. No one can really agree on it, and it's just you know. I don't know, and it's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling because I want to know. I want all the answers, but it's been 10 years. We're not gonna get all the answers. Scott claims that there is a solid story and like that it connects and everything. I think he's a liar. I think that man is a liar. I don't believe him. I'm sure it makes total sense to him because he's the one that's creating it all, and it's just like, ooh. But I don't believe him. Oh my goodness, there are so many things. There's so many things happening. But that's what happens if you try to go out the back door. But if you continue on with like the quote unquote like following the actual retelling of the story. What time is it? It is 5. I can probably only go for like another 30 minutes if I'm pushing it. I could talk for hours about this book, let alone the rest of the franchise. But so you continue along, yada yada yada. You get to school because school starts. It's the end of summer. School starts. You meet this girl Gabrielle who's new to the school. # new ties, new vibes. You meet her, she's new to the school, she's in your spot basically, and so that's why you meet her, and she's reading a book on mythological stories, Greek myths, pretty much. So you have the two options of having her tell you about Hercules or having you tell her about Theseus. I somehow ended up choosing the correct option the first time, so I went with the Hercules telling a story and everything. But it is interesting because that affects how you end the story. What story you ask for her to like explain to you affects what affects what ending you get, which is such an interesting thing I feel to put right on that. Because if you choose the Heracles story and you go and get to like the end of the story and it's all about like the rabbit is there in the pit, you've got your dad, you need to figure out what you're gonna do. If you choose Heracles, you get like what I am pretty sure is like the canon ending where you get your dad, everything's happening. It's like you apologize to each other as everything works out. Your dad is alive, you are alive. Jeff is chilling in the background. But if you ask for the Theseus story, and that's what you choose at the end, you try to grab the net to act as like the string of the story, and the rabbit breaks your arm and then you lose. It's very interesting. It's very interesting of such like I gotta get back into gamer mode to go over here. But it's such an interesting point to like lock in on for the ending of the story. I was like, what story you asked for is what's gonna determine your outcome. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's so interesting the choices that were made in this book. I really enjoyed it. Like overall would heavily suggest checking it out, because there's also like endings that I won't even get to tonight because I got things I gotta do in 20 minutes. And I haven't even talked about the craziest thing yet. Ooh, we got a grotto. Let's go to the grotto. Let's see if we can get treasure. Let's see if we can get treasure. What do we got here? Not under... And I don't even think I'm gonna get... Because I've got like... I fell. So... Okay. I'm trying to think about where I want to go next. Because that sort of gives you the rundown about all of the very interesting choices that happen throughout the... the alleged canon run through. There's no treasure spots in this grotto. I'm gonna be so sad. I want cosmetics. But there is another route that you can take where if you don't play along, you get to the point where it's the rabbit is your dad. The rabbit is your dad. And your mom is just like, that's your dad. What are you talking about? You can tell her. You can basically call her crazy. Talk about how it is a yellow rabbit man that's trying to kill you. And run away from the house. Which, wild to really think about when you really think about it. But you leave the house. You're given two options of either running like trying to run to Jeff's, or going to your neighbors for help. And while you're going to your neighbors for help, if you decide to go to your neighbors for help, it is not the neighbors that you've known for however long you've lived in that house, probably the entirety of your life. Do you want to know who opens the door? Who opens the door when you knock on it, asking for help from the terrifying rabbit man? Chica, the chicken, opens the door. Why? I don't know. I don't know why it's Chica opening the door. And you don't know why Chica's opening the door. But Chica is there with Mr. Cupcake opening the door. You turn around, rabbit jump scare, yada yada. I do believe It was Rytoast I watched who said, ooh, talk about a good one. That they believe that it is more proof for the idea that either A, Oswald never really left the pit yet, or B, that the rabbit's not actually the rabbit, but is instead an agony hallucination. So because Oswald is the only person that sees the rabbit at all. Only person who sees the rabbit. And so the idea that his neighbor has now become Chica the chicken. Chica the chicken. Chica the chicken. Rytos sort of put forth the idea that that is more evidence towards the idea that everything happening around Oswald that is in relation to Fazbear's and the rabbit and everything is more of a hallucination on his end rather than these things actually coming into the world. They're just within his mind, which honestly kind of makes sense as far as that goes. But even more wild you come as like, you don't go to the neighbors, you keep running. A middle-aged man pulls up and tells you to get into his car. You are 10 years old. You are 10 years old. If you don't get into his car, Dream Theory 2.0 vibes. Honestly, kinda yeah. But I also heavily believe in that Dream Theory 1.0 was the original idea. For the first 4 games, but that's another stream we can get into. Restock. Wonk. Middle-aged man tells you to get into his car. If you don't, because stranger danger, you get mowed over by your dad's car, which was what I talked about, where is the other option that I had talked about earlier that just took me out of it. It was way too funny in the moment in ways that I cannot fully express. But interesting is if you do get into his car, this guy kind of just keeps staring at you for a bit and you're starting to get weirded out, and then he's just like, sorry, Ozman, it's me, Chip, from 1985, the friend you made back in 1985, or one of them. You had Chip and Mike. This is Chip, here in present time, in your time, helping you get away from the rabbit. And he's just like, wow, I was like, seeing you here, this is evidence, this is true, everything's going on. And you're just like, yeah, I time traveled through the ball pit. And I'm not talking to you, Siri. And he mentions how kids in his time back in the 80s, also had time traveling moments where they went back. And it's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What's going on here? And he's just, and you're just like, okay, sure. Also, I got a bunny man coming to get me. He's just like the mascot from the 80s. You were like, yeah. He's like, that guy's bad news. And you're just like, yeah. At this point, I'm pretty sure Oz is just happy that someone's like actually believing what he says. So he's not really questioning much, and I don't blame him. I really don't. But it's so interesting, and so interesting the way that it all plays out. And so Chip tells you, it was like, yeah, we've been trying to find the bunny man for a while now. I got a team together, and we're gonna try and take him down. We got the Fazvengers before we got GTA 6. The Fazvengers, as I'm stealing the name from Rytoast, because it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And he does. You go, I think it's to a warehouse. I'm not going to look it up because I don't have it bookmarked. And it's going to take a while to like tap through everything. But he takes you to like the warehouse and everything, and you meet Chip's daughter, who, get this, is Gabrielle, the same girl that in the previous timeline you met at school, and she told you the myth stories. Hello? I'm inside someone. She tells you the myth story. She's Chip's daughter, at the very least. In this timeline, she is Chip's daughter, and it is insane and wild. But this girl quickly becomes the greatest ride or die in this entire franchise, and I love her so very much. Forget Chip, she's actually my daughter now. Gabrielle is my daughter, and I love her so very much. Yoink. And so you get there, and it's like Chip and Gabrielle are just like, just wait for our leader. They're gonna explain everything. He's real chill. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be great. Who walks in but the yellow rabbit himself? The yellow rabbit himself walks in, which was interesting because Ritos is a person that I watch like basically all of their theories at this point. Really enjoy it. He believes that means that the rabbit can inhabit anyone. I personally took it as it means that Oswald's dad is the leader of the anti-bunny gang. Which is a name that I created and not actually in the book. But I fully took that to understand that Oswald's dad is the person leading the anti-bunny gang. And I was very surprised when that was not even an idea that came up in his video. But to each their own theorist. To each their own theorist. We'll see if anyone else brings it up, or if I will be alone in this. Or if I will be alone in this belief. Either which way. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. The bunny is there. There's two options. One, Oswald can come out right out the gate, bat swinging. That's the bunny. That's the bunny. What do you mean you guys don't see it? That's the bunny. Why are you locking me up? Well, hello? Anyways, gets locked up because they think he's going crazy from the time travel. Wild thing to say. Ends up getting got because the rabbit knows where he's at, and so the rabbit gets him. Or sorry. I am unmedicated, but that's fine. Or you can keep it to yourself, but you do tell Gabrielle, and she's just like, that's just a man, dude. That's a whole man right there. He's like, no, it's the bunny. Trust. And she's just like, I bet. And she becomes the best ride or die in this entire franchise, and I love her so very much. It's actually kind of insane how quickly she just follows along, and I love her. She's so good. And so you can either come up with a plan of getting something to tackle him and tie him up and everything, which doesn't end well. Doesn't end well. Just gonna put that out there. Stop it, Siri. Or you I'm not gonna do it again. Or you can grab stuff, but hang back. Patience is key. And so also Gabrielle's there because with the meeting and everything, Chip misses taking her to school, so she skips. You're both skipping at this point. You're both skipping the first day of school. But everyone piles up into their little cars and they drive over to Jeff's Pizza. And it's just like, Jeff, get in the back. What are you guys doing? Get in the back. I'm not paid enough for this. As Jeff goes into the back, as they're all there with guns, bats, and other inanimate objects to try and get this bunny away. Oh my goodness gracious. It's so insane to kind of think about and express out loud. But even more so as I was reading it, I was just making like the face the entire time. Like that was my face the entire time. But everything's going on. The bunny is still with them also because the bunny is their leader. So but the bunny is with them as they're just like, we gotta find this guy. We gotta get him. It's like Oswald and Gabrielle are told to stay in the car because it could get dangerous. And you know what? For that, Chip, one of the top 3 dads of this entire franchise. One of the top 3 dads of this entire franchise. But either which way, the bar is so low. Either which way, Oswald sneaks into the pizzeria anyways, and then gets into the ball pit, starts looking for ball pit shallow, starts looking for his dad, finds him, grabs him, hears commotion behind him, stands up, turns around, sees the rabbit, bite Chip's head clean off. And everyone can now see the rabbit and starts freaking out and the fight breaks out. And then a stray shot hits Oswald in the chest. And he nicks it in the ball pit. And that's how that branch ends. There is no good ending in that branch. It is absolutely insane. Either which... So I think that branch is more of a possibility type storyline rather than a this happened storyline. But also wild to think that it even could be a possibility. The Fazvengers could be a possibility. I don't even know. This book is absolutely insane, and there is a whole 3rd branch that I did not even get into. So I would suggest picking that up, whether through your local library, support libraries, or I think you can get it at bookstores as well. It's a very interesting read. I gave it a 5 stars on Good Notes, personally. I had a lot of fun with it. Do I know what it's saying for the lore? Not really, no. But that's what the other people are for on YouTube. That's what Game Theory and Rightos and ID's Fantasy and everyone else, John FNAF, that's what they're for. That's why I subscribe to them on YouTube. I have my own little theories that I kind of talked about, like ball pit being agony and it proving that it's agony by taking out the rabbit before everything, and then maybe the baby doll being a version of trying to tell us about how old Circus Baby is. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. The book, insane. I have so many thoughts that I could not even fully express in this 1.5 hour long stream. But I've got something I gotta get to in about an hour. So I'm gonna have to end the stream there. So let's see if I can. Boom. So thank you, everyone, as you're still gonna hear Minecraft in the background. There's no turning that off. Unless I leave the server, but I got things I gotta take care of real quick on there. So that, yeah. Bye, Hads! Tell Zuli I said hello and I hope her nap was good. But yes, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your year. And I'll see you guys sometime next year. But with that, I'm going to have to get out of... I'm going to have to close Minecraft. Hold on. Hold on. Let's get out of there. Alright, I'll deal with everything later. But thank you for listening to me yap. I hope you have a lovely rest of your year. And if it's already in the new year for you, I hope 2025 is fantastic. And I will see y'all very soon. I'm planning on making a schedule. I'm not going to say what the schedule is until I solidify it. But hopefully, that's my goal for the next year, is to make a schedule and then stick to it as far as streams go. We'll see what happens. Wish me luck. But But I love you all very much, whether you chatted, whether you lurked, whether you're here for the last 5 minutes, whether you're here for the last hour and a half. Thanks for listening to me. I love you all very much. All right. Pause that. All right. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Sharp as a blade, I can strike into action. Call the syndicate, we shall seek satisfaction. I've been living and fighting in this war of life, but it doesn't matter how hard I try while heroes die. New tyrants rise as the totem glows. Voices welcome me home. Every word you say on a throne of lies that fail to come to my surprise. Nations fall, my fireworks fly. Blood is the only way. Paint the blue skies red. Injustice I'll repay. Leave them out for dead. I keep my friends close and enemies closer. History repeats itself over and over. I've forgotten how all the flowers smell, the beauty they hold. I cannot tell, it all begins when I ring the bell. Blood is the only way. Paint the blue skies red. Injustice I'll repay. Leave them out for dead. Still my withering heart yearns for peace and mercy. But I'm ready for revolution now, so let the blood stain the ground, burn it down.